Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to season 2 of Interviewing Broncos Country. I'm super pumped up about our guest tonight. Coming in, we got Donovan. How are you doing, Donovan?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. How are you today?
I'm doing good. We had you last year.
Yes.
Did you by chance go back and revisit that? Was there any takes that I had or you had that you remember? Were we talking about Bo Nix?
Yeah, I honestly remember watching. I probably watched that interview back at least 2 to 3 times. One of my biggest takeaways from that is just we kind of did nail it on the head with Bo, just how he was gonna kind of start rocky. Obviously, he had what like 3 interceptions in the first 2 games, or four in the first 2 games. And then but he was just able to progress through the season, stay in time and on schedule, like through all the plays that we had dialed up for him. And besides that, not really anything too crazy that we were hoping to be a playoff team but not expecting it, and then we were able to squeak in right there with the 7th seed.
I was feeling super confident about 10 wins. Um,
Hmm.
I was feeling so confident about it that I placed a bet. And it was like, I think it was like $400 on the Broncos to go over 5.5. That
Oh,
was
that
their
was
win total.
yeah, I remember that, talking about the win total being set at 5.5. I think I put 100 on that myself. It's
Is there
ridiculous.
a team this year that has a 5.5 win total? I would be curious to know that because that seems pretty low for almost every team. Now the Broncos this year are set at 9.5,
Hmm.
which is a significant jump from last year.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
do you feel like the Broncos are going to go over 10? Because I'm thinking they're a 12-win team this year.
Hmm.
Um, I feel this way because, and I was telling this to my friend the other day. I was like, I think this is one of the best Broncos teams I've seen, roster wise, top to bottom in my life. Like we had the
Hmm.
2015 Broncos. I think Bo Nix will be better this year than Manning was on the 2015 roster.
Oh
And
yeah.
I think our defense has the capability to being one of the 85 Bears, the 2000 Ravens, the 2025 Broncos. And
Yeah.
that's not an exaggeration. And anybody that doesn't feel that way either is just thinking that we're being homers or they don't know who we got because we got Nick Benito who broke out last year.
Hmm.
He was not a household name, and we were in November and he was like third for defensive player of the year. We had a defensive player of the year in Patrick Surtain.
Oh,
We also had Zach Allen, who had the most pressures, most quarterback hits of anybody in the league. We were able to extend Jonathan Cooper, who is also good coming off the edge. John
oh,
Franklin Myers, right in the middle. We drafted the best corner in the draft in Jihad Barron. And then we bring in Dre Greenlaw and Talona Hufunga. And that's to match with Brandon Jones, who PFF has as the third highest graded safety last year. I mean, this is a I haven't seen a team look like this maybe ever. I mean,
yeah.
we've had great defenses, but top to bottom, the depth, and we'll talk about that today because they're going to be getting rid of some of these players because we got to narrow the roster to 53. But some of our third string, they're going to be starting for another team. Um,
Mhm.
what are your expectations defensively with the Broncos this year? I mean, are we talking historically great or just the best in the league this year?
Yeah, no, I see it very similarly to the way you do, where I'm not just I can see, but I'm almost expecting that like almost historic level defense because like you said, we're just so loaded at every position. The only thing that we're not like absolutely loaded at would be, you could argue, the inside linebacker because of our injury history at the two starter spots. But besides them, it's like we just have guys all over the field that would be starting for the majority of the league. It's not, we don't have any guys who have any sort of, sorry, we don't have
That's okay.
any guys who have any sort of like liability risk. Like that's like kind of what we were going into the season last year with PJ Locke as our second safety. And although he didn't live up to the expectations we wanted, which is why we went out and signed Hufanga this offseason, but even having him as the third safety whenever he would be starting for a lot of other teams. And then we look at our nickel position, we have two guys there that can like that are arguably top 10 nickels in the league with Jaquan McMillan and then our rookie Jade Barron that we just drafted this year. And then keeping Riley Moss and Pat on the outside. Obviously Pat's gonna do his thing coming off that defensive player of the year season where he was locking down number one receivers week after week. Which just I know you saw the numbers that came out for like each receiver after we played them. It was like DK Metcalf 2 catches. I want to say he held Garrett Wilson to 0, and just like guys like that that are like able to like cook other defenses, and then Pat just holds them to nothing. And so you have that on the back end, and then on the inside we have one of the with with the exception of having a true superstar on the D line, one of the best all around D lines in the league, because all the guys there are like 8+ sack guys. It's like like we had two backup players that totaled 5 sacks apiece with Tillman and Ellis. So with Cooper and Benito coming off the edge, Zach Allen and JFM on the inside, I just don't see how anybody can really stack up against us. I can see maybe the Texans or the Ravens defenses or the Eagles like being up there with us with the best defense in the league. So it's like I feel like those are like really the top four. But I don't see a way that the Broncos don't just have by far and away the number one defense in the league this season.
Yeah, and it'll be I think a lot of times too, if you have a bad offense, because we had a lot of years where we had a really good defense, but the
Mhm.
offense was bad, and that created the narrative that lasted. It felt like a decade that we were a quarterback away. They're just a
Yup.
quarterback away, but it didn't matter what quarterback we brought in. It turned out we weren't just a quarterback away. One of the things that I love about Sean the most is that his legacy as a head coach is already cemented in Canton. He is not out here trying to justify the decisions that he makes. He's able, knowing that he's already a Hall of Fame caliber coach, he can do things that other coaches don't have the luxury of doing. And I was making this point yesterday when I was talking about Sean Payton releasing Audric Estime.
Mm.
And I wanted to ask you about it. But before I do, I wanted to say this little piece because Estime was a fifth round draft pick out of Notre Dame last year. I mean,
Mhm.
it has not been that long. We just drafted him out of Notre Dame, and you're looking at a coach that is able to draft a player in the fifth round in only one fiscal year later say, no, we tried the experiment, it didn't work, let's get rid of him. And the ability to do that, you have to be like, what is the word I'm looking for? Um you got to have a lot of integrity when it comes to putting the best 53. All right.
Mhm.
So if there's a guy over here that's getting paid a ton of money and there's an undrafted free agent, and throughout training camp in the preseason, the undrafted free agent is doing better, you have to be able to say, that's our starter. I know that Randy Gregory's our highest paid defensive player right now, but
Yup.
he's not playing better than this guy or this guy. And those are the tough decisions coaches have to make. But if you're a rookie head coach and you haven't proven yourself and you get rid of an Audric Estime, you're basically saying that you don't know, you drafted the wrong guy, right? It's like you just drafted him last year and you're not even waiting for him to work out. You basically threw away a pick. These are things that coaches that are trying to build a reputation, they can't give up on Audric Estimes too quick because they're like legacies kind of connected to their players that they drafted. Where
Hmm.
Sean's like, I don't have to worry about that stuff. My job is to put the best guys on the field, and you can kind of get rid of the Randy Gregory's and the Estimes and the Tim Patricks and all the other surprising decisions that he's made that have proven time in and time out to be the right decisions. I feel like Sean Payton has earned our trust, and I feel like this is the best version of Sean Payton, like in the history of Sean Payton. When he was younger, there were still a lot of lessons to be learned. Like I feel like we look at him as a great head coach, and it's kind of one big mark in our timeline, but we forget Sean Payton has gotten better at coaching, and this is the best version of him that we got as Broncos country. Real quick, what are your thoughts on Sean's philosophy when it comes to getting rid of players that maybe other coaches wouldn't have the balls to get rid of, for lack of better words? And how are you feeling about him going into year 3?
Just in general, I'm feeling amazing. Sean Payton's always been one of those coaches I've had the utmost respect for, just because of everything he's been able to do in the league. Which, like, winning a Super Bowl isn't easy. It's one of the hardest things in all of sports to be able to accomplish, especially with the single elimination style of the NFL playoffs. But even beyond that, it's his ability to know when it's time to just move on. Like, that's something that not a lot of coaches really ever gain. Even like current Hall of Fame coaches that are in the league right now still don't know when it is time to move on from a player versus when the player is showing the development, showing that they can do it. And
Right.
obviously, how kind of wide our running room is right now kind of leaned into the decision of moving on from Estime. Because, we have like four guys that I would honestly rank above Estime. And so it's like, if he's RB5, is there really much way to be able to keep him? Like, I could see him being brought back potentially for a practice squad spot. But beyond that, it's like, he hasn't proved himself. He's had chances and opportunities. I don't know why that keeps happening.
Oh, you know what might, I don't know if it'll make a difference, but if it's an iPhone, sometimes you can
Yeah.
slide down and you can hit the lock button. So when you turn your phone,
Yeah.
it won't rotate.
I tried that a minute ago, but for some reason it's just rotating it back this way.
Okay, it's not a big deal. It's not bothering me any. Um,
Okay.
but while you were working that, did you know that since 2016, there's only been 2 running backs that have made the Pro Bowl selected in the 5th round, and both of those running backs have only made the Pro Bowl one time. It was Kyron Williams and Aaron Jones.
Okay.
And the reason I looked at it is I went back the last 10 years, and what I found was there's only 2 in the last 10 years out of 32 times 10, so 320 players. 2 of them made the Pro Bowl one time. So it's actually far more normal to draft a running back in the 5th rounder and he doesn't turn into a Hall of Famer and he does walk away from the team. He's far more likely to do that than go to a Pro Bowl. So at the end of the day, I don't know why this is so surprising because I guess just because it's only been 1 year and we're just not used to it because a lot of coaches, they would draft a player like Estime and they would want to give him at least one more year.
Mhm.
But this is what tells me that when Sean is in interviews, whether it's Kay Adams or all the other ones that he's done where he's come out vocally saying, I've coached 6 or 7 teams that I felt like were a Super Bowl team, and this is one of those rosters, we all got super excited. I already knew it. And if you're following the Broncos, you already knew it.
Oh
If
yeah.
if you're like a Fairweather fan, I see them on Twitter. They're like, they want to pretend that we're not as good as we are. I don't know
Mhm.
why, because we've had 10 years of being crappy. So why not enjoy it now that the tides have turned? But whatever, that's their journey. Sean has come out and said things that sound like we should go to a Super Bowl this year, which is what I believe. It's not like we don't have historically teams go to a Super Bowl in their second year. Russell Wilson with the Legion of Boom did it. We had there was another quarterback. What was it? Ben Roethlisberger with the Pittsburgh Steelers. That was a
Mhm.
great defense and a young quarterback. So the thing I'm trying to say is like he can say that we have a Super Bowl team, but his actions, the fact that he's like, we don't have another year to give Audric Estime to learn. Why don't we
Mhm.
have another year? Why the sense of urgency? Because I feel like this is a Super Bowl team. You get it? Like it's like his actions are showing us that he really believes this because he's like you can see the sense of urgency with the Audric Estime cuts.
Yeah.
He's like, we don't have an extra room because if we play our cards right, this is a team that can be hoisting a Lombardi trophy. So because of that, we are in a Bo Nix window where we haven't had to pay him hundreds of millions of dollars. And I always say there's two ways you can win a Super Bowl: a rookie quarterback on a rookie contract with a loaded team, or a Patrick Mahomes type quarterback that he just kind of makes up for all the deficiencies.
Yeah.
And overall, they're still a well coached team. Those are like the two ways. The other way that we know doesn't work is like overpaying for a Dak Prescott and
Mhm.
acting like he's Mahomes. So Sean, he sees the window and he's like, we got 2 years to realistically keep the band together, and we have to, you know, the window's right here. The opportunities right now. It's just whether our team is ready to seize it. How will they react? Uh, when they're hosting a playoff game against the Chiefs in the divisional round. Uh,
Yeah.
like how will the players? Because they've been to a playoff game. They went to Buffalo last year, got their asses
Mhm.
kicked,
Yeah.
and it was hard to watch because you knew that the team was better than whatever that was.
Mhm.
Um, but they did the same thing in Baltimore. So it was like there was, as good as the year was, whenever they had a measuring stick game, besides Kansas City, who I think were frauds all year, and the Super Bowl proved it. So that's
Yeah.
not a great example, but the every time they had a measuring stick game, they didn't measure. They didn't measure up, and I'm hoping that this year things are different.
Yeah, and because like you could even throw the Bengals into that mix as well because their issues defensively were have been well documented over the past season, and it's like we weren't able to squeak out the win against them to solidify our playoff spot. So like we
Yep,
had to go in, and obviously we did demolish the Chiefs' backups, which felt nice, but not
it did.
as nice as it could have had we actually beaten their starters like we should have in Arrowhead.
Yeah,
Um,
blocked kick.
yeah,
They
that
got
man,
lucky, and they still act like we weren't a problem.
exactly. Like that's the thing that I don't understand is it's like this team is one of the best in the league, and they know it now, and they're not gonna act like they're complacent either. They're gonna keep striving to be better because they had a 10-win season last year, and that almost wasn't enough. Like, had the Bengals won one more game than they did, then it wouldn't have been enough. So this team knows that they need to go out, win 11, 12, 13, 14 games just to even get into the playoffs. But I don't think that's enough. I think this team is shooting for the division title.
They are. They
Mhm.
absolutely are. They should win it. Um, because the Chargers just lost Slater.
Oh man.
Like that is a massive blow because the team's identity starts with being
Mhm.
physical up front. Um, Now, do I think they're like a 6-win team now? No.
Oh no.
But the Broncos are rolling into the season without that type of, knock on wood, without anything like that happening. The Chiefs, they there's nothing that they did this offseason that has me feeling. I mean, this is the hardest division the Chiefs have ever played in.
Oh yeah.
They're not going to just walk through the division. Um, between the Broncos, Chargers, and Chiefs, the Raiders with Geno Smith, I know they just added Amari Cooper, but it feels like they're in a different tier. The
Hmm.
Broncos, Chargers, to me, are both better than the Chiefs right now. But the Chargers are going to have to prove it, because they've just given us too many years of like, oh, they're going to be great, and then they're just not. So I'm going to put the Chargers and Chiefs kind of in their own tier, in the Broncos above them, because I really feel that this defense is just so much better than any other defense, and defense wins championships. So um, it's all about the mindset of our players. Like if they go out there and they're just like the shoes are too big to like,
Hmm.
sometimes for whatever reason, like teams can't believe. Like they have the talent and the all the talent. They're capable, but they just can't walk in it, if that makes sense. Um,
Yeah.
these guys have to walk in it, and we won't know until week one, and when we see them actually play, if their confidence off the field is something that we can see manifesting on the field. And what does it look like? And how is Bo Nix leading? I have all the confidence in the world, but the AFC should run through Denver. It should.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially because it's like we had probably I'd say like a middle of the pack type of offense last season with a rookie QB and no run game. So it's like what can we do to improve? We have the guy that's he's going into his second year in Bo Nix, so he's already learned and progressed so much. Which I know that like we got our butts handed to us in the playoff game, but that wasn't a Bo issue. Like he was playing well the entire game. It's
Yeah.
just kind of the whole team around him collapsed, which was unfortunate to see. But outside of that, it's like he's going into year two. We should like be growing our run game hopefully like twice as good as it was last year because last year we didn't have a single guy go over 550. I think Javante was like just under that, which to not have a single guy go over 600 rushing yards, that's just insane for
Yeah, I
Bo
think Bo
to
Nix was the second leading rusher.
second or third behind McLaughlin, maybe second
I
though.
think second. The schedule this year, I mean, starting with Tennessee and the
Mhm.
Colts, I wanted to walk you through the schedule
Oh yeah.
and get your opinion on it, because that, as much as I would love to be like, our first real game is week 3 against the Chargers,
Mhm.
um, that's just not the mindset you want to come in with. As a
Oh yeah.
player, I'm one of those fans that feel like my mindset somehow actually manifest to the players on the field. Like I can't I'm like, if I don't look past the Titans, the players won't look past the Titans. And
Yeah.
obviously that's like nonsense, but I feel that way. So
Mhm.
um, you know, it's on to Cincinnati. It's like I'm not worried about the Titans, but I'm worried about being the biggest favorite, because now it's like you're 7.5 point favorites week 1 against the
Mhm.
Titans with a rookie quarterback. There's a lot of unknowns, and I'm just gonna say I've gone to the Broncos last 4 season openers. We've lost all of them. I've decided this year I'm not going, uh,
Oh.
and I'm like, look, it's not even just that. Like I went to, I can tell you in order. Russell Wilson returning to Seattle. I was still in the Navy, stationed in Whidbey Island. So that's in Washington State. So I was at Russell Wilson's return to Seattle game,
Mhm.
lost. Then week 2, uh or the next year with Sean Payton, I went to the Broncos home game against the Raiders,
Yeah.
lost. Then week 3, I was in Florida for the
Oh no.
Dolphins game.
No.
I
You
was
said
at
week 3 and it already clicked.
Yeah, I was at the Dolphins game. I was like, because I just got the Navy Snow, I was kind of going on this tour where I was driving with the Broncos. Like I saw the Jags and the Chiefs played, and then I made it down to the Dolphins and the Broncos, and it was like, oh my god, it was terrible. And I was like, okay, I didn't go to another game that year. And then last year, I saw the Broncos against the Steelers. That was my home opener. It was the home opener,
Mhm.
and we lost. And I was just like, God, I'm really getting sick of this. And then for the Bengals game, I live in Nashville, and I was like, that's like 3 hours away. So I drove to the Bengals game, and we lost that. And I was like, man, it's like even on a 10-win season, I can't strike a win. So
Dang.
I decided I'm not going to the Titans game this year. And
Okay.
I think we have a better shot of winning if I don't go. Uh, because I'm 0 and 5. I mean, that's a little ridiculous. So
Yeah.
what I mean, Colts and Titans, which one are you worried about more?
Honestly, it's weird because it's entirely dependent on the quarterback position between the two. Because, week one, Cam Ward, first overall pick, rookie coming in to Denver for his first NFL start. Whenever we have probably what might be the best defense we've ever had,
Vance Joseph
like
is going to be cooking.
he's gonna be heating him up like crazy. And then against like all the back end, no one's gonna be open. So what's Cam Ward gonna do? Is he gonna be able to get out of the pocket? Is he gonna be able to hit guys like short over the middle? It's gonna be insane to watch.
I can't believe how close we are to football.
Literally. It's
Oh.
like it's like right there. We're what, a week and a half away at this point?
The
Or
Denver Broncos and the Flames, and they run
yes.
out in the field, and oh, dude, I'm getting chills just thinking about it. I'm just so excited.
Mhm.
I know, and this is why I was so excited to do these interviews is because like I need to talk to everyone because it's like
Yeah.
we're in a special year where at the end of the year I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna see these interviews
Hmm.
and I'm gonna look at them and be like, we knew,
Yup.
we knew before week one. Just like I can go back and see the way we talked about Knicks. It was like,
Hmm.
yeah, we knew that too, like you said. But that
Yeah.
first real game that's gonna be tough is the Chargers game. And then we have
Easily.
a 3-game stretch: Chargers, Bengals, Eagles. If they go 3-0 in that stretch,
Oh
it,
man.
and they're 5-0, by it's crazy to think by October 6th, the Broncos will be considered the best team in the NFL.
Oh yeah. If we even start 4-0, the question gets asked. And then if we go into Philly and beat the Eagles week 5, then that'll just like cement it.
Yeah, it's like, okay, team is, and I have a 3-leg parlay that pays out $51,000, and it's Bo Nix to win MVP, which sounds crazy now, but if that happens, the Broncos are the best team. It normally
Hmm.
goes to the quarterback. Like,
Yeah.
and then the defensive player of the year, I really feel like it's going to be Jared Verse from the Rams.
I can
And
see that.
yeah, because I think he's going to lead the NFL in sacks, and I think
Hmm.
it just went to a corner, so I could see it going back to an edge. And then comeback player of the year, I have two, so I hedged it. Both bets are the same with Bo Nix and Jared Verse, but comeback player of the year, I have CMC, and then I have another one with Aiden Hutchinson. So
Yeah.
I kind of hedged it there, but I feel like, dude, I only put like $8 on it, and it paid out tens and tens and tens of thousands, and I'm like,
That's crazy.
that doesn't seem that crazy to me. Like those three things feel likely.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. The only one that I'd put a little bit of pause on would be the Jared Verse one. But at the same time, I could see him absolutely taking that next step up and like being one of those like elite of the elite because he has the physical tools and he was putting it all together on the field like from a technique standpoint last year. So if he just rides the wave and keeps his momentum going, then he's gonna be insane this year. So I see it.
Yeah,
And then
he's so strong. I mean, he's like he's going to be. And I've been following his career for a long time back when he was in college, and I'm like, he's like, you know how we knew about Patrick Surtain before the NFL did, like
yeah.
like Rams fans know that Jared Verse is like the next, like he's going to be a Hall of Famer. He's the next
Mhm.
big thing. Every 10 years, like a special edge rusher comes into the league, like a TJ Watt, a Miles Garrett, a Jared Verse. He's like one of them, and I think
Yeah.
this year is going to be his like come out year, and that's why I think the Rams it can go to the Super Bowl. And I wanted to ask you, since we're talking Super Bowl expectations, even though we're only at week 5 now, let me
Mhm.
just ask you this: as far as the NFC goes, who do you think Denver would be playing in the Super Bowl? Because I have two teams that I feel strongly about, and for some reason the Eagles aren't there. It's the Packers and the Rams for me.
Oh, I didn't see Packers. Okay, I kind of see it though.
The problem with the Packers is like everybody has been acting like Jordan Love. Like, look, we know he played the majority of the season hurt.
Yeah.
Um, but like they also won 11 games last year, and we're
Mhm.
acting like not you, but like the NFL world is kind of acting like Jordan Love is like I don't know, you would think that he had a terrible season, they fired the head coach, like and in reality, it's like they won 11 games, went to the playoffs. Yeah, it didn't work out. But this is exactly what happened with the Eagles. Is like they had kind of a down year because they lost Shane Steichen in their defensive coordinator Rich Gannon, and then they had a okay year where they won like 11 games and they got beat bad by Tampa Bay. And then the
Mhm.
following year, the Eagles weren't on anyone's radar. And I'm like, that's what's happening with Green Bay right now. Is like they Jordan Love played the whole season hurt. They still were good enough to win 11 games. The continuity's there. The defensive coordinator that they got from Boston College for
Mhm.
the Packers, Jeff Hafley, he had a tremendous season. Their
Oh
best
yeah.
statistical season for Green Bay since 2010 when they won the Super Bowl. And Jordan Love's healthy, and they just drafted a real number one receiver. Josh Jacobs is really good.
Oh yeah.
I don't see what's not to love with Green Bay this year. You know what I mean? I just think they're a very complete football team. There's no
Mhm.
noise, there's no gossip or drama coming out, which is a problem, this time of year with like Micah Parsons and Trey Hendrickson until yesterday. It's
Yeah.
just like all the signs for Green Bay's like clicking, which would ruin Brandon Perna and Tom Grassi's friendship probably.
Yeah, no, I think that they would have something insane going on if both teams made it to the Super Bowl. But
Yeah,
yeah,
they
no,
would.
I could see the Packers. I wouldn't put them in as one of my top two. I think my top two, I'd have to agree with you with the Rams.
Rams. And I'm writing that down. So you think the Rams would be in your top 2 as well?
Yeah, I definitely do just because I at least expect the Rams to make it to the NFC Championship game or to lose to the eventual Super Bowl winners in the divisional round, whichever happens. Just because it's like they have like an amazing roster top to bottom. And Matthew Stafford, like I wouldn't put him up there in the elite four quarterbacks, but I solidly believe that he's QB5
Yeah.
in the NFL because like he's just so insane. He's like what a lot of people like think about whenever it's like Aaron Rodgers from his two MVP seasons recently. He's kind of in that same exact mold where he's got the processing, he's got the arm still, and it's just as long as he's healthy, because they've been going through this whole his back's killing him, it's not killing him thing all off season, which they did the same thing last year and he was fine, but they did the same thing the year before and he wasn't fine. So it's like we don't really know what's going on with him. but I'm assuming he's healthy, and I'm assuming that the Rams are going to be there at the end of the year. And then the other team that I do see there is I think that the Lions are still going to be there. I know that they got booted out in the divisional round by the Commanders, and then they lost their two OCs in DC. But I just feel like Dan Campbell has this team like set in a way that it's like, okay, yeah, so what, they lost the best offensive coordinator in the NFL. We're still gonna come out here and punch you in the mouth every week.
Yeah. And I think I'm with you on that. I do think the other thing is Jared Goff had such a hand in the game plan.
Hmm.
Like it was, I mean, they do a dummy snap count on the line just to see the defense. They're able to motion Sam Laporta, who's that joker tight end that Sean wants. That
Hmm.
way they can motion him out and then bring him back. And now Goff takes that information and then he calls the play for real. Like
Yeah.
he's a Peyton Manning type, not Peyton Manning, but that old school, like you didn't see a lot of motion from Russell Wilson, barely could get the play
Mhm.
out, couldn't see the middle of the field. Jared Goff is a real quarterback. So
Oh
I
yeah.
say all that to say, like, yes, Ben Johnson's gone, but Jared Goff isn't. And
Exactly.
don't discredit like Jared Goff's ability to keep the ship together. At the end of the day, I think it's not enough because I just think losing both coordinators is a big deal. But I'm with you.
Agreed.
I don't think the Lions are going to miss the playoffs. I just don't see them like going. I think their year was really 2 years ago, and
Hmm.
they had the worst third quarter in their whole season. And
Yeah.
it's a shame because it was like
That bounce
24
off
to
the face
7.
mask.
I mean, it was like it was destiny that year. And
Hmm.
now it feels like kind of how the Broncos were, where they made the Super Bowl on the most unlikely year, which maybe could happen for the Lions. Like
Yeah.
Denver should have won the Super Bowl in 2012.
Oh yeah.
That was
Oh
their
yeah.
year to win it. And the only reason they didn't was because of that Hail Mary.
Hmm.
you know, to Jacoby Jones, rest in peace, his soul. But like that play haunts me to this day. And
Hmm.
that goes down as the only postseason I didn't watch football. I was so hurt by that play that I physically couldn't watch football. I didn't watch the Super Bowl. And if you know me, that's like unheard of.
Yeah.
But I just couldn't. I just what that wasn't the same when we lost to the Colts in 2014. I was actually at that game. I swear, all I see them do is lose. I mean,
That's
but
horrible.
um, for I was able to watch the Super Bowl that year, but for some reason. It was like just so gut wrenching in 2012, and you think Manning could have went to 3 Super Bowls in 4 years and won two of them,
Yeah.
like
Like
that.
easily.
And I still say, like, when you're talking about the greatest of all time, I don't like people will say, but you got to consider longevity. For instance, the Emmett Smith, he played 16 seasons, but he only
Hmm.
had 4 seasons where he averaged over 5 yards a carry. Where Barry Sanders played 10 seasons, but he averaged over 5 yards a carry on his career
Yeah.
and played behind a worse offensive line. So it's like,
Hmm.
no, for me, if you ask me who's the best at any position, I'm going to say give me their best season and I'll look at that. Because
Yeah.
it's like let me see that quarterback at his very best. Let me see that quarterback at his very best and I'll tell you who's the best. Um Longevity is a whole nother conversation. Um and for that reason, I think Peyton Manning is the greatest quarterback of all time because of
Yeah.
his 2013 run with the Broncos, the
Mhm.
55 touchdown passes, to this day, the amount of points he scored through the first 5 weeks, I could go on and on and on. Like he broke all
Mhm.
of the records. There still hasn't been, even in Mahomes' best season, he hasn't sniffed those records.
Yeah, no. Back in his 2018 season, I think it was, like he was still 5 touchdowns and a few hundred yards short.
Yeah, because he threw 50, and um, now they have an extra game.
Yeah.
And they're still not getting it
Mhm.
getting it done. So I anyway, I just wanted to take a moment to say Manning's the greatest to ever do it. I know that that's gonna
Mhm.
uh, be really just no pushback at all on that.
Not
Uh,
none whatsoever.
um, okay, so you said the Rams and the Lions, which would be another great matchup between Jared Goff and his former team in the NFC Championship game if that happened, because those games have been amazing.
Oh yeah.
Um, so then they got the Jets and the Giants after the Eagles. I like that. You
One
got
thing I will say about the Jets and the Giants is I'm just so glad we don't have to go to MetLife for either of those games.
what about because the Jets games in London?
Yup. Yup.
What's wrong with MetLife? Is the stadium cursed?
It's apparently it's one of the like the most amount of non-contact injuries happen in MetLife Stadium than any other stadium.
So is the game they played last year was at MetLife though when Bo Nix threw his first touchdown pass?
Yeah, that's technically true. Playing in the typhoon that game, I think.
Jinja said, "Love you too, brother. I remember you had your hiatus last year. I had to take one too midway through the season. Missed the shit out of you guys though, and had to come back." He also said, "What's up, Donovan? Nice to meet you, sir."
Nice to
Jinja,
meet you too.
one of the no, he's the most dedicated fowler. We had another one, Bill, but we just lost him in
Oh,
January, so we are sad about that. You know,
definitely
that's the
sad to hear
sad
about
thing
that.
about you get really close to the people in the channel, and then they're not there for a couple weeks, and you're like, something's wrong, and then you find
Mhm.
out it's the worst. I'm like, I would rather it be that he just said this guy stinks and moved on. But unfortunately, we lost Bill. But
Mhm.
we dedicate every channel or every podcast to him. But he's a big Giants fan. While we're talking about the Giants,
Okay,
so
okay.
we also got Russell Wilson playing for the Giants.
Mhm.
Um, a little revenge game. We didn't get it last year with Pittsburgh, so maybe we'll get it this year. Would that be fun for you? I would enjoy that.
I would love it a lot, but I'm scared that he's gonna lose the starting job to Dart by the time we get there.
I'm
Like,
afraid he's going to have like the best game of his career. Like,
mhm.
imagine that. He's like throwing over the middle of the field. He's like not taking any sacks,
Oh my
great at
goodness.
clock management, getting out of the huddle super quick. You're just like, who is this guy? It's
Playing
like,
in time and on rhythm.
yeah, you're just like, oh my god. That's how I felt when we lost to the Jets in
Mhm.
the worst coaching job in the history, and then we lost to the Jets, and I was like,
Yeah.
everyone was like, that's why Peyton needs to shut up, and I'm like, dude, Peyton told the truth. If it hurt your feelings, whether we won or lost, it has nothing to do with what he said. You know what I mean? It's like
Exactly.
he came in here and he inherited a team, and he had to pretend to be like, okay, yeah, we'll try to make it work. Like Peyton knew because you've watched him talk with Bo Nix, and now you can go back and watch him talk about, yeah, I think I'm ready for the challenge. Like he was always kind of saying things in a way that was like, I don't think it's gonna work out with Russ. He was thinking about next
Mhm.
year. That's why he brought in Stidham, right away, because he was like,
Yeah.
we're gonna have to bench him so that we can get some trade value for him. It
Mhm.
was like a whole thing, but I'm just glad that Sean's happy because he looks genuinely happier,
Oh,
doesn't
yeah.
he?
He really does. It's just like every time he talks about Bo, you just always see him light up just a little bit. It's like he knows he has a special guy. He
Mhm.
knows he has like a true gamer that's gonna go out there every single week and give out his absolute best, not for himself, but for the team.
Yeah, and it's like the way that we felt about Patrick Surtain. Like, did you know Quinn Martinez isn't in the top 100?
That's ridiculous.
I
That
I
is absolutely ridiculous.
dude, I am like, what? How is Quinn Marinez not in the top 100 when
He
the
is. Oh,
I know. The only guy that was even like comparable was I think Lane Johnson, and he made like the list at 21. And was it Lane Johnson? I thought Lane Johnson was a tackle.
yeah, no, he's tackle.
There's a guard that they have in Philly, and he's like, let me see.
Landon Dickerson.
Yeah, Landon Dickerson. I'm
That
pretty
sounds right.
sure. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Let me see where he ranked on the top 100. He was number. Wow, Jalen Hurts is number 19. Why is he shit on every year?
I don't know. Like I'm not gonna lie to you and say like I'm the biggest Jalen Hurts believer. Like, but like he's definitely like one of the key reasons the Eagles won that Super Bowl last year.
Well, yeah, and it's like, okay, but even 2 years ago when he played Mahomes, like that was
Hmm.
probably the greatest Super Bowl I've ever seen. Besides,
Hmm.
obviously winning Super Bowl 50. But as
Oh
far
yeah.
as like a game goes, like if I wasn't a Broncos fan, that game wasn't that exciting. It was like
Hmm.
the Broncos pretty much like sealed the deal in the first quarter, and there wasn't a lot of scoring, and Manning's
Hmm.
offense was, not the best. It was
Hmm.
like fun because we won the Super Bowl, but it's
Yeah.
about as like anticlimactic as winning a Super Bowl could be. You know,
Yeah.
there was no like, imagine how Patriot fans felt when they intercepted Russell Wilson on the one.
Hmm.
Like,
Like that would have been insane.
we were the opposite of that. Like, we were the opposite. But um yeah, I forgot where I was going. Oh yeah, but the Super Bowl with Jalen Hurts and Mahomes, yeah, I felt like every time Hurts got the ball, he let his team down for a touchdown.
Oh
Every
yeah.
single time. I mean, the final score was like 35-38 or something,
Yep. Right on it.
but it was that was the game where I was like, yeah, Jalen Hurts is one of the best in the league, and the plays he was making, those throws, like, I mean, he's just, for whatever reason, people find. I feel like Bo Nix is going to have the same thing attached to him that Jalen
Hmm.
Hurts has, where I feel like Jalen Hurts is a top five quarterback because of what I see when I watch him play. I think he's one of the best, if not the best, leaders in the NFL. At the podium, the way he talks to his players, just like all around, he's like the perfect franchise quarterback. And
Yeah.
for some reason, it's just like not good enough for so many people.
And I don't get it either. I really don't.
We got Haley, and she said that ginger feller looks like a stud of a son of a whore. Couple of stallions here too. Haha. It's Ginger. My phone died. I knew it was because of the last name. He took his wife's phone. That's hilarious.
That's
Um,
awesome.
okay, so we got that stretch with the Jets and the Giants. Okay, then we got
Mhm.
Cowboys, Texans. Um, those are both, I think, winnable. I would put the Texans at a harder game than the Cowboys, but they're about equal to me right now. Depending on
I'm
what
just saying.
happens with Micah Parsons.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. But just throwing this out there, as long as I've been alive, the Broncos have never lost to the Cowboys.
Yeah, why? I was
It's
like, I'm not mad about it. It's just so funny because even when we're bad, we beat them like
mhm,
38-3. It was like,
literally.
what happened? We haven't beat anyone all year, and then we like, Teddy Bridgewater's throwing like 7 touchdowns. It's like, do you remember that year? It was like 2020, I think,
Yep.
and the Broncos were bad, and then it was like week 5 or 6, and then they just lit the Cowboys up
Yeah. I think it was that 2021 season. If that's whenever we had Bridgewater.
30-6.
Yeah,
in
for no reason.
2020,
Yeah,
30
I
to
just
16. But they must have had some garbage touchdowns in the fourth
yeah,
quarter.
I very clearly remember us being up like 30 to single digit in that
I
game.
thought it was like 30-0 at one point
Maybe.
because I have here fourth quarter touchdown field goal. Yeah, the Dallas Cowboys scored both of their touchdowns and 2-point conversions in the fourth
Mhm.
quarter with 4 minutes left. So there was four at I'll say it this way, with 4 minutes and 10 seconds left in the game, the score was 30-0.
That's wild.
And then they got 16 quick points and kind of say, but yeah, Teddy Bridgewater, uh, Tim Patrick, 44-yard touchdown. Melvin Gordon, touchdown. Brandon McManus, 53-yard field goal. 27-yard field goal. Teddy Bridgewater, 1-yard run. Teddy Bridgewater passed to Cortland Sutton for a 2-point conversion. It's funny looking back on it. It's not that crazy of a game. It's just the fact that it was 30-0. It made it seem so much crazier.
Yeah.
Like anytime the other team has a goose egg, 16-0 looks like a blowout,
Yeah.
because it's like an illusion. But if you look back on it now, 30-16 looks like, oh, this was a good game. That like the Super Bowl was a total blowout.
Yeah. And it ended, I think, like 40 to 22
Yeah, it's
whenever.
like that's not a blowout score. Like they were on their like 43-8 stings. Like it stings to this day.
Yeah.
But like the Chiefs were able to get those garbage time touchdowns, and then all of a sudden you're looking at it and you're like, it's 22-40. You're like, that looks a lot better than it really was. But we should be able to take care of business against the Cowboys.
Oh,
Right
yeah.
after the Cowboys game, we have the Texans. You feel good
Yes.
about that?
I don't know. So, I don't know if you remember, but I am from Houston, so I have like a lot of connections to the Texans as well. And so, like most of my friends are big Texans fans. I was at the 2023 game in CJ Stroud's rookie year.
Really?
Yes, yes, I was there. I'm hoping to make it back this year. I'm not living in Houston right now. I'm still in Texas though, and so
Is
I'm
your family
hoping.
Texan fans?
Kind of. Most of my family isn't really big football people, but they will like root for the Texans if that makes sense.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah,
So
and so
you might be going to that this year.
I'm hoping to. My fingers are crossed.
Okay.
Um,
If we do, I got to interview you. I'll send a link to your iPhone,
mhm,
and then you'll be outside the stadium for 5 minutes, and then just like show
absolutely.
me the vibe.
Yeah. Yeah, I will tell you, whenever I went, there was a lot more orange than I expected to see.
We
Like a
traveled
lot more.
well.
Yeah. Are a team that travels very well. It's like I would say it was like 60-40 in favor of them, obviously, but it's like it was crazy just how many Broncos fans showed up in Houston. I will
Well,
say though,
yeah, that's still
this is
close
a
to Mexico, where we got a huge
yeah,
fan base.
yeah. Which I've never understood why Mexico is such huge Broncos fans, but I mean, I'll take it. The extra support's amazing.
Yeah, I think it's because if you are going up from Mexico, like you got Arizona,
Mhm,
you get no, you didn't have the Raiders, right? So like you had the Raiders, but they weren't in Vegas. They were obviously in Oakland, which is
mhm.
not really anywhere near the southern border. So like you had
Yeah,
the Chargers, the Cowboys. There was no Texans till 2002. So think about like John Elway's, the most fun polarizing player to watch in the 80s
mhm.
and even the 90s. And then you're like, well, I don't want to be a Cowboys fan. I'll be it's like you only
Yeah.
really have like three options.
Yeah, okay, yeah. That makes a lot more sense whenever you think about it like
Well,
that.
four Cardinals too.
Yeah. Mm,
But yeah, I mean, even when you go to a game in Denver, you see like a lot of Mexican Americans that are like just diehard Bronco
Oh
fans.
yeah. Oh yeah.
And it's like, yeah, I thought the same thing. I was like, I didn't feel like we were that close to Mexico, but yeah, apparently like that's their team. A
Yeah.
large portion of them. Um, so yeah, like you said, the more fans we get, the better. But not
Absolutely.
looking forward to the bandwagon fans.
Oh
Once you
yeah. No.
once you get some success, it's like all of a sudden these fans start coming out of the bushes, and then it's like,
Mhm.
where were you when we were crying because of our ninth straight losing season? Yeah,
Yeah.
you were wearing a Chiefs hat. you know, I always say though, don't get mad at bandwagon fans because the reward that you and I feel when we win a Super Bowl, like true fans,
hmm
like that feeling we get, the bandwagon fans, they will never know what that feels like.
Yeah. Exactly.
So the reward they'll never get.
hmm
So we have nothing to be like, yeah, let them fake it. Who cares? They're going to have to fake their happiness as well. Ours is going
exactly.
to be real. Um,
Yeah.
so okay, just to I know we've got to keep it at an hour, but I just wanted to get through the rest of this schedule. We only got
Yes.
a couple
Yes.
more games. The Raiders and the Chiefs.
I expect us to not necessarily handle the Raiders well because it is divisional games. You know, divisional games always get crazy. But I think we have to be at least split with the Chiefs this year with their starters playing. Like that is like the bare minimum that we can do.
Oh,
And
right. I didn't realize you have somewhere to be at 6:30. So, the Commanders, Raiders, Packers, Jags, Chiefs, and Chargers. I'll finish with this. What is the game you're looking forward to most this year?
I will say I do have like about an extra like 7 to 8 minutes before I even have to worry about getting out of here.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, so I can we
We
can
can fly
speed
through
run
these.
through the schedule if that's what you want.
Yeah, okay.
Okay,
So Raiders and Chiefs. I'll let you finish.
okay, absolutely. So Raiders, I expect us to be able to sweep them with minimal issues. And then Chiefs, we have to split with their starters. Splitting last year, it just wasn't the same. Especially because like they had their bench.
They have their
Camera just cut
Ben.
out. There
Oh,
we
there
go.
we go. You got you back. We are back in business.
And so splitting with the bench, it just didn't feel the same, you know? And
Yeah.
that's why I feel like we really truly need to be able to beat them, especially if we can do it in their house like we were supposed to this past season.
This year they're playing in their house on Christmas,
Ooh.
which is like, wouldn't that be the greatest Christmas present? Is like we just beat the crap out of the Chiefs in Arrowhead in front of their own fan base. And what's crazy is like we'll
I don't
only
know
have.
why, but I can't hear you all of a sudden.
Oh, really?
That's funny.
Um, I'm still putting out audio.
I'm gonna try.
Let me see. Oops. Let's see if he comes back in here. There he goes.
There we go. Sorry about that. I don't
You're
know
good.
what just happened.
No worries. I was just saying the Broncos play in Kansas City on Christmas, which would
Yes,
be the best present ever. Is just
absolutely.
blowing out the Chiefs.
Do
Um
you remember the last time we played the Chiefs on Christmas?
um
Would have been 2016.
26, yeah, I got
Yep.
blackout drunk at Mellow Mushroom. I was that game took us out of the playoffs.
Yup. Yup.
I
It was
do.
a
You just brought up bad memories.
yup.
That was the
I just
worst
figured.
Christmas of my life. I ended up getting
Oh,
in a fist fight with my brother that night.
oh
That
no.
I was in a dark place. Well, the Broncos just got eliminated from the playoffs, so
Mm,
I was having a really tough time. And then he knows how to push my buttons. And
gotcha.
yeah, I forgot all about that.
It was a very, very bad night. I went to bed with like, just celebrating Christmas, but I still went to bed angry that night, And like I was only like 15 at the time, but still it just
Oh,
didn't sit right.
it still hurts. I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes when the worst losses I've ever taken was definitely when I was younger, like around this loss in 2016, I was like 21. So
Mm-hmm.
it was like, you're still regulating your, like you're just got a lot of testosterone and you don't know what to do
Yeah.
with it. It's like now when we lose, I'm like much more mature mentally. Like I don't
Yeah.
really even drink anymore. So it's like
Okay.
I'm like it's just a totally different thing. But when I was like young, like 18, 17, and we would lose, like it messed with me. Like
Yeah.
I would be like it would ruin my day. Like I got,
Mhm.
this 10 years of losing has kind of conditioned me to like
Yeah,
learn how to lose.
definitely.
You know, where I'm like, yeah, it doesn't ruin my day. I expect it. And if we win, they surprise me. That's just icing on the cake, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just like whenever I was younger, it would just kind of like just ruin my day, but now it just kind of ruins my next 30 minutes, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Where it's like I'll get mad, I'll like go to the bathroom and be like, whatever. It is what it is. It happens. Every team loses some, wins some.
The other guys get paid too, all the
Yeah.
other cliches you have to say to, make yourself feel better. And then,
Yeah.
but no, and then you're like, God, that sucks. It was like the Buffalo game.
Mhm.
My family all came over because they're Packer fans, and they were getting ready to watch the Eagles game, and I'm
Mhm.
like, you have to go downstairs. You have to go socialize with your family. And I'm like, I just want to lock myself in the room. The season's over. Like I was just
Yeah.
so, but I got over it. I went down there, cheered for the Packers, they're like my second team. So
Mhm.
I was like, well, I guess go Packer. It's not the same, but I still
Yeah.
cheer for him.
Yeah,
The
that's exactly how I feel about the Texans too. It's like it's not quite the same, but it's like I still root for them.
Yeah, yeah. It's nice too for moments just like that, to like I go to games and like I was at Brett Favre's last game as a Green Bay Packer.
Okay.
It's like I grew up in Wisconsin, so it was like
Yeah.
but for whatever reason I became a Broncos fan at like 6 years old and never looked back.
Yeah.
So the last game of the season's the Chargers. This could have playoff implications, and
Mhm.
this is the game in Denver.
Yes. Which that's honestly such a huge like boost for us having like starting and ending the season in
Throwback.
Denver. Yes. Yes. And it's just like especially if playoffs are on the line or the divisions on the line, or even if it's just seeding, being able to have that game at home, I think that we should be able to handle them because we had a great game against them at home last year, or I can't
First
remember. I
half.
think it was the first half, and then we just weren't able to keep our foot on the pedal. And then the other game, like they kind of just ran away with the lead, and we weren't
Sertan
able to catch
was
up.
yeah, Sertan went down in the first play.
Oh, that's right. I
Y-
forgot about that.
Yeah, and then you saw
Mhm.
how valuable he was. But yeah, uh, we're gonna beat the Chargers this year. It
Oh
was
yeah.
like we're we're the team that others should fear. But all in all, the schedule. I mean, you got Commanders, Chiefs
Mhm,
twice, right? And then you got the Chargers twice, and then
mhm,
you got the Bengals and the Texans, maybe
mhm.
the Cowboys and Commanders, Packers and Jags. I think the Jags are going to be way better than people are
Oh yeah.
expecting. Because I
Agreed.
thought Liam Cohen was the best coach in this cycle,
Mhm.
um, and I think they'll be like a 9-10 win team. But it's a tough schedule, but it's manageable. It's like
Yes.
every time there's a hard stretch, there's a Jets or Giants game around the corner.
Mhm. Which that's really nice to have, especially getting those games kind of earlier in the season because it's like that way we can start stacking up wins and building the confidence.
Yeah,
it's
no
like
more 0-3, 1-3
exactly.
starts.
Like if we can at least start the first 5 games 3-2, I'll have so much confidence in this team. But I'm expecting at least a 4-1
I
start.
want 4-1. Four and
Yes.
one will make me feel like, all right, we're ready to go.
Like
Like,
I'll feel vindicated saying that this is a Super Bowl team if we start 4-1.
yeah, and
Mhm.
I'm right there with you. Let me know about the Texans game. I would love to have you
Yes.
outside the stadium. Giving us a little tour before I live stream the Texans game. One,
Absolutely.
what was that?
Oh, sorry. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, and thanks again for doing this, Donovan. I know that it was kind of last second, but
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming on here and sharing your thoughts with us.
Thank you for having me. Sorry for the technical issues with it flipping back and forth. Like, because last minute sometimes things happen, but
It's all right, man. It's all good. I'm always happy to have you on here.
all right. Well, thank you. I appreciate you. And then go Broncos.
Let's go.
Let's
God
go.
bless Bo Nix and go
Yes,
Broncos.
sir. Go Broncos.